All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to this the special Warren Town Council meeting, today, June 17th. First on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first we have is the acceptance of minutes that we were having email issues because it was in my junk email. I'm assuming everybody got them this time?
What was it?
Yes.
Was it the executive session minutes
Yes.
from Anthony?
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the executive session minutes from May 14th?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, aye. Okay, next we have the final adoption of the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. This has not changed since our last meeting. We did get approval from the state to exceed the cap. What's the pleasure of the council?
Well, there's really nothing we can do other except to deny it, so I motion to accept it because it's already been submitted and approved and there's nothing else we can do. There's two actions tonight, right?
Yeah.
This is the motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion?
What amount here?
The
Total, what is the number? I don't have.
right over here. We have to go to page 2. Total raised by taxation. So actually, let's read the numbers into the record. Of total raised by taxation, the amount of $27,644,165. With the uncollected reserve of 5,000, so the total tax levy will be $27,649,165. And the tax rate will be $14.44 per thousand. And the tangible tax rate will be $18.01 per thousand. Are those, Anthony, those the only numbers we need to read into the record?
Correct, yes. There will be no action on the rules.
Do we need to do that first?
No, you don't need to do it first, but you need to do it if you're going to do it.
Correct, yes, and it is on the agenda, I believe.
But yeah, so motion to approve the complete budget 24-25 the amount
27,649.
$149,165.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? This, I believe is this a public hearing? No. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak before we vote? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, next on the agenda comes from the town manager. This is the clarification we asked for the 2023 audit. There were 3 pages that we had some questions on.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the council. I've been working with the tax assessor and I believe there's a memo that he sent that may be included here with you tonight,
Yes.
but I do have Chris here to explain what I think the concern that the 1,227,322 that.
Yep, I read his memo and let me see if I digested it correctly. Basically, what it is because they phased out the motor vehicle tax. We had applied the tax to collect it, but we didn't collect it from the citizens. We collected it from the state. Is that correct in a
Correct.
nutshell?
That year, what happened was they were phasing it out over, I want to say, a 6-year period. They phased it out 1 year early, but they didn't make the decision at the state house until after we already went through our budget process.
Okay.
So the same amount of money that we budgeted in our budget to collect in motor vehicle taxes, that went down by the 1.2 million. We received that in state aid. It was very transparent with the state. We were communicating with them. I wish the light bulb went off in the last meeting so we could have just got rid of it then, but
Well, you were shocked,
That's-
like us, so.
that's what
You
happened.
found it, so thank
Yeah,
God.
and it's in the report too that the auditor does on page 69 and 70.
I mean, they didn't catch it, so don't beat yourself. up.
Yeah, she did mention it, but it wasn't like the two were,
Connected.
Right,
Connected,
connected,
but-
yep.
and it shows the exact amount on page 70 that we received in excess of what we budgeted for from the state, and that's just the money that is part of the.
Thank
voter-
God for that.
Yep.
Any other questions from the council?
Was there one other issue?
Yep, we'll do one at a time.
Yes, there is.
All right, Chris, thank you.
And the second issue, if I could have the finance director come up and help me, was regarding the DOT tip water
No, the
project.
Water Street tip,
Yeah, the Water Street
Yeah.
tip, yes.
please. And
So-
and the trails.
So, as of right now, our going back and looking into this, this is from a grant that goes back to 2009.
Right.
And then, which was for $810,000, and I believe from the state and the federal government. And then in addition, there was another grant in 2018, I believe, from Rhode Island Commerce for
That was the
203.
Beautification thing.
It was put into the same project, so, and it was Water Street as
One
well.
was infrastructure, one was for the top.
Yes, the one with sidewalks and
Mhm.
trees, yes. But from what we have discovered is that there was 765,000 more spent than was in the grant. I don't know where that money came from. I don't know how that happened. Dave and I have been looking at the box that this grant and this information is in. Can't seem to figure out who authorized the payment of the 765,000.
Did we
Was that?
see who it was paid
Was
to?
that reimbursed by,
It was paid. We don't have anybody, knocking on the door saying you owe us money. So
Anthony,
I don't know
was that-
where the money came from, but it was paid.
was that the American Tourister?
Before we get to that. These, was this a reimbursement grant? We get reimbursements from the grant.
From what we understand, we got the reimbursements from the grant. Yes.
This had to do with this project. Because what happened is, Water Street was adopted. Had to place pipes in there, the tourist project.
And the native archaeological pushed us back.
Right.
And that
That was
broke,
at the other end,
right, but that broke the timeline too.
correct?
So I don't see any indication in the paperwork that's in this box that indicates that American Tourister, or there's anything with American Tourister.
Did we, and on that same question, they were supposed to reimburse us for part of the work. Did we follow up and make sure that we got our full reimbursement from them? Weren't they, when they put that new sewer line, weren't they supposed to pay part of it?
They paid. for the-
Hang on, Joe, I got an answer coming.
Yeah, but they paid for the whole thing. I was the president at the time.
There's a portion that they didn't have to pay us back, but a portion that got from their taxes were in
Okay,
like a 6-year staggered.
okay.
So that agreement was set up.
Okay.
before they,
Right.
say back in 2018 or something.
And I don't even know if we've completely accepted the sewer pump station yet, because the last failure that happened there, we hadn't accepted it. Still, it's theirs. When the pump failed, this
I
very
remember that,
last
yeah.
time.
I think it just.
Nominal now.
Okay, if we can clarify that for the regular July meeting, that would be great. All right, so with that being said, where do we
And
go
and
with this?
Mr. President, can say that this goes back, it's in the audit, going back to 2020, this 765,000. Wasn't in 2019, I looked at 2019, but it does show up in 2020.
Is it in wrong? Is it in as a grant and they marked it as a debt? Who do we owe it to?
we paid it.
Owe it to anybody.
We paid it already.
Oh, she said that we.
No, she said we
Just over the
overexpended,
deficit.
she said we overexpended on that account. Is what the auditor
All
said.
the bills been paid.
Yeah.
Nobody
So we-
knocking at the door.
Yeah, we don't owe anybody, but she said we spent $700 and something thousand more than what we had
And the
appropriated.
330,000 for the trails grant. She saw trails something.
We haven't had time looking at that.
Okay, so this one went to 775. It is paid.
I talked to Mary, our accountant.
Mhm.
I said, how do we get out of this mess? And she said, next budget, we have to appropriate that money
Okay,
or. Well, I'll get more detail, but that's
Okay.
basically what she said.
and actually, I would love to,
We don't have it.
yeah, I would,
It's paper,
I believe so.
on paper with your.
Right.
your
Exactly.
Money.
correct.
We don't think it's cash, it's
It's just a.
some authorization or something.
Yeah. And there's no outstanding bills, so it's just gonna be a matter of putting it in the budget. We're not gonna have to find the cash because we already paid it.
Why don't we just zero it out?
Well, either way, we gotta do it next budget cycle. And my other question is, if you can possibly find out who that money was paid to. Make sure we didn't double pay him. I don't know, maybe you can look into that and find that out, or,
There only seemed to be 3 or 4 contractors involved in this thing. There was the engineering guys, there's the construction guys, LAL or something like
Yeah,
that.
LAL.
The sidewalks and
Yeah.
Brito did the sewer line.
yeah,
So that shouldn't be too different.
Each
Okay.
invoice from each of those entities who was involved in that Water Street project. We can match their invoices to the grant money, and then there's this amount that is. That we overspent.
Yes.
So do we know if we overspent that? Like, in a timeline, then we could add up the dates paid of the invoices.
Look at that.
And see when you went
That
over.
Funny looking spreadsheet I handed out. there.
Yeah,
If you look,
this one here,
what did it called?
this one, Dave?
yeah, if you look at the yellow part on the left-hand side,
Mhm.
you can see with the revenue and where we spent. We didn't collect much revenue, we spent a ton of money,
Streetscape.
but it's all through that thing.
All right, well, let's keep that open. Maybe you can do a little bit more digging and also update us on the July meeting if you find anything else. Even if
Absolutely.
you don't find anything else, please keep us updated.
Okay.
Any other questions at this point from the council?
Yeah, just, seems like there's giving a way of matching these things up, but it's gonna take more investigation.
Yeah, and
This
hopefully,
box I inherited. It gives us more questions than answers. But we'll go, that's a good idea, we'll go and see if we can.
Yeah, because somebody, the order of, or the timeline of the invoicing. Would, I don't know how these different entities, what their terms are, they invoice immediately for 30 days, 60 days, but what it is, but the timeline of when they've been paid. And then it's gonna, at some point, we're gonna have spent the $1,013,315, and then whatever is invoiced after. I don't know. Does that make sense?
it does if all the invoices are in there. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's the concern we have.
Now,
But
All of the invoices.
when it
will
says
add
revenue, is that the
to
reimbursement on the grant?
the million, and then the
No.
set plus the
I don't
765,
understand.
568.
Mr. President, also, if, just a suggestion, if you allow me to reach out to Ernie Almonte, who works for the Leagues of Cities and Towns, and ask him how we write this off,
Okay,
right?
Yep.
If that's appropriate.
correct, if that's what we have to do. And the other thing is, on your spreadsheet, Dave, where you're showing the expenses and the revenue. Is the revenue where we got the reimbursement?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm looking at the revenue and that's not coming anywhere near the reimbursement. We got a 65,000, a 58,000 and a 585. That doesn't even get us to the 810 from the feds.
That's it, 718 is what we got.
But when we supposed to get this here,
We're supposed to get up to
810,
this number,
That's the total, the 648 and the 162 comes to the 810. Okay,
So we're supposed to get up to 810, depending on the,
To reimburse.
Okay.
get reimbursed, yeah.
and we got 718, so we got about 96,000 less than what we thought, but that, not the 700 less. All right,
Mr. Abruzzi was the manager at the time, wasn't he? Or was he the treasurer?
In
Uh,
2009.
this goes from 2000 and, this spreadsheet goes from 2012 through 2020.
But it goes back, it goes back.
Correct.
The project you're
Yep.
talking about is the Water Street project, and Kate was the planner. And Mr. Abruzzi was the,
Was he or was it? I feel like it was Mike involved. With the Warren project. You would have the Warren historical.
I unfortunately am, now that you introduced that idea, I don't know. We'll have to look at the, can we, Jessica, can you look at the minutes, please? We'll have to simply go back and look at some of the
Yeah.
council
I went
meetings.
through a whole several years worth of minutes this morning, and I couldn't find
Anything.
very.
Okay.
Well, there's a chunk where this is all we talked about.
Yeah.
So unfortunately.
All right, well, I don't want to let this go. I'd like you guys to keep digging and possibly, maybe we can nail this down to the exact reason why or what, or where it is if it's not here or something was done wrong. But I don't think, I don't think we can beat this horse up anymore
Oh,
tonight.
one other
Without
question
any
possibly. Mr. Wheeler, you remember when the pump station was built? I thought maybe in this, you just picked up on, like, working there or whatever.
I'm not saying.
No, I don't think it could be that old. I mean, that new. It was tough water. They.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Water Street while we were doing the work, so we didn't have to.
For the bridge.
They put the main in first. Then we negotiated the deal for the pump. But they did the main when we were doing the project.
They were just finishing that up.
We were trying to coordinate,
Yeah.
because the last thing we wanted, they were, in that deal, we brokered that they did the finished surface too.
Now, well, another thing too, could that
I think it was 18.
700, could that overspend be what we credited them on taxes?
Yeah, so you remember
So I
that.
was sent ready.
Could that, in other words, the credit that Chris told us we worked out with them, could that be,
Yeah.
could that be part of the cost? Because they were supposed to, because we paid and they was, instead of reimbursing us, they were getting a tax lien write-off or whatever, a tax. What do they call it?
I guess it's like restabilization.
Tax, yeah, like a tax stabilization. Maybe that is where that $700,000 number is, because maybe that's what their cost was going to be. And because we paid it out of our pocket and they didn't give it back to us in one lump sum, maybe that's where it is. So it's not really lost revenue, it's just still coming in.
First we paid for the project. In exchange for that, they got it for payment of tax.
Okay.
Yeah,
The town didn't front.
we didn't put any money.
So all of these numbers we're looking at have nothing to do with that sewer line.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, but just, do a little bit more
But-
exploring, get us some more info.
John, some of the, I mean, it would be good if Norman were here, you can just call Norman and ask, because the force main was theirs.
Yeah.
All of the connections and all, I'm not sure. I remember we got a lot of bang for our buck, but in the same sense, we were doing upgrades as well. And that's why we wanted to time this whole thing.
Mhm.
Because in all actuality, they agreed to the calendar. They needed the main. So all of those connections we did, the gas line work, which was not us, but do you remember? I mean, it was,
Yeah.
It was a lot
It
going
was
on.
a mess, yeah.
and then the sidewalks, LAL.
Okay, so we're gonna move that till next July, the July meeting. Hopefully we can dig up some more information at that time. Which brings us to the next item on the agenda, which is the discussion on the rollover. Capital rollovers. And basically, Anthony, this just means if we don't roll any of these over,
What about
the ones we don't roll over just come off the books as an expenditure or a proposed expenditure. Okay,
Can I ask a question?
We-
sure.
We skip over discussion and actually regarding cost increases flood control. The Senate Rock.
He did.
Hang on.
I think we were going back to it. I wasn't following the agenda order.
I got two different agendas. Why do I have two different agendas?
Maybe one's mine.
No,
Oh, you
I
mean
did,
they're
I skipped,
different?
yeah, we did skip over it. We went right to the other one. Okay. No, it's the same. I just, it's on the first page. All right, let's do the Sinagro first. Right?
So just by analyzing the costs that we are paying currently per ton and per load and incineration, I'll just skip to that right now we're paying the average cost per load to Synagro, I think that's how you pronounce it, Synagro, $13.65. And in 2023, there were 140 loads that were transported to Woonsocket. The estimated increases will be paying $18.20 per load. And if we do about the same number of loads per year, or this year, it'll cost us approximately $255,000. Now, currently in the budget, there is $252,422 in that line item.
Okay,
So it's about $3,000.
so we may overexpend that account by roughly.
We may overspend
3,000
that
with
account
the
by
increased cost.
3,000,
Okay.
yes. I just wanted to lay it on.
Okay. That was what we didn't want to approve the new contract, but we knew exactly how much more it was gonna cost us.
Right.
So it looks, if everything projects out, it looks like we will overexpend that count by about $3,000, but there really aren't many
Other
options on the table.
No, and maybe we'll only do 139 trips.
Maybe.
Or
Yeah.
maybe we're
Yeah.
gonna deal with the next man. Maybe we'll do more.
One-year contract.
It's a one-year, they only want to do a one-year contract. So
If you make that trash can turkey.
Is there an
again,
option to renew?
so-
Or can they say, we're not gonna renew? Is it our option to renew or is it theirs to?
I believe it's,
Yeah.
The reason that they're going to have a one-year contract is if they don't know, what the future holds in the socket facility. So they don't want to have contractual obligations. Something that they're not going to be able to perform on. And difficulty that you have in this situation is that, the communities here in Rhode Island, that are relatively small in some larger communities that they deal with in Massachusetts. It becomes a cost factor if they have to haul, not to the socket. And the fate of the socket facility is still in the air, that's why they want a contract. Other communities are getting a contract too. This is a significant state issue that states, it's not just Warren, statewide.
Isn't that the only facility in the whole state?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, do we have we're gonna need a motion on that to authorize the new contract, the new one-year contract. And I believe there's a clause that we can bail anytime we want to in there, correct?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so it's either side can, we can, if we find somebody cheaper or another thing, we don't have to even break the contract. I know, Joe, but
Motion to approve the contract with Sonata.
do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, now let's move over to the capital rollovers. On the list here. You said you were gonna get a recommendations from the department heads on which ones they definitely thought we should keep and which ones we should roll, and I don't see that on here.
yeah. I'm sorry,
Yeah, start at the bottom, because those are the newest.
the ones at the bottom.
Right.
We've gone through this historically because we were carrying so many things over. The logic was if we weren't spending it, well, why are we saving it?
Right, and some of them went back to 10 years old.
Correct. I mean, there was a point where, yeah, a lot of them were 10 years. They were placeholders, it just wasn't smart financially.
Mr. President, we looked at the ones from this past year, current fiscal year.
Okay.
And that's what we presented to you, that some of these are important items that we need to look at and discuss. And these are the things that we feel that should be, if they're going to be carried over, if anything is going to be carried over, these
Was it
would be
just
the
a full
projects.
list?
So.
Well, these
these were
this
the-
year, we didn't approve anything this year. We didn't approve anything this year. You've got Tuisset Point Road ramp dock, you've got that as town council 35K. We didn't put any money forward in this year's budget for this.
I'm sorry, that was last,
These are all carried over. This
This
is a
is-
list of carryovers.
Okay,
but
That
this,
right
these are,
now, either we continue funding these projects or we kill the project and put the money in the general fund.
or
Yeah,
just
these-
don't spend it.
these were for
So
fiscal.
that would go back to the general fund. You
This is
can't
fiscal year
earmark it
23,
without it being a rollover.
Yeah. Mr. President, these are from fiscal year 23, 24. So the current fiscal
Okay,
year. that
from
we're-
last year. Okay.
This fiscal year that we're going to go into, there is,
Create this continuing.
Do
Correct.
we,
X-
or
do
not.
you see any in here that we should absolutely not roll over, not cancel?
I
Most.
don't, the most of them.
Well,
are-
is the new fire station, is that a,
That's done. That's, well, that's
Well,
not
But this is federal money, so that has to stay.
Yeah, but
$10 million.
we're not,
Correct.
we don't have that.
But that's not federal money. We got 2 million from the
We have
Fed,
5 million from Jack Reed.
2 million from.
We have 2 million.
two fire stations, separate projects?
There's 5 million, right?
Wow.
4.2. Four, whatever.
You're looking at capital that was allocated for that project over a few years.
Wait a minute, we have $10 million.
That we allocated from the town. That has nothing, not the money for the grants.
That again.
10 million was approved last year in the budget cycle, 23-24 budget to go to bond. We never went to go to bond, the bond came up, decided not to go to vote. That's why you said 10 million on it, it was never voted on.
Because we couldn't afford it.
Right. And if we don't roll this over, we don't lose
Right.
we don't lose the 4.7. We can still use it for planning and possibly land. There's a possibility we could still use it, correct?
It's 10 million.
If I speak more on that, I shot papers in the past week for those grants.
Okay,
John, this 10 million doesn't exist.
10
right,
million is
exactly,
not.
right.
10 million was not voted on.
Okay, so that one,
It's not good.
That's for sewer.
It's wrong.
right. So does anybody on the council see anything that they want to keep and roll over?
I mean, yeah, like coastal resilient grant match, I mean, it seems like, what is that?
Actually, we just got we just got 2.1 million in coastal resiliency grant.
Oh, I'm just, yeah, some of these things I'm not sure what they even are.
The coastal resiliency grant matches for use for projects like the end of road projects. It was a generic number that Kate had always put in there. I believe at times she was putting 25,000 to use towards grant matches. We had a project that needed roughly almost 50,000 in matching. So she was building it up over years to do it, but I think we were working on other ways to fund that in the future with.
So is the stormwater permitting and the resiliency, are they different?
It's all on the same. So stormwater permitting, we've been using it to pay for upgrades to the system when we need to. It's not a perfect science. This stormwater system is obviously always going to need upgrades, always going to be worked on. The 25,000 was never enough to fix that, but we were using it to pay for the matches and the grants. when we
So
had it.
is this number actual? If you're saying you were using it, how much is there?
There was multiple years of it, so.
So
I
it
don't-
is 25,000.
Yeah, so at one point, we were gonna use, there was a couple of years of 25,000 that was still sitting there. And one of the plans was to use it for to finalize mapping our system to become current with the future regulations of stormwater permitting. But we just never did it, because of all the financial issues that then kind of came along and stopped reaching back to previous years.
What's the status on the Warren Boulevard? Anybody know
So
that?
one
I thought-
particular portion of that project is done.
Okay,
The project that was done on the upper end, on the Main Street side, That's done. There was some issues with some residents that never let us finish kind of going towards Warren Boulevard. So that'll never get fixed unless
Unless they change it.
they change their mind. There's another section on the
Retention pond in the
yeah,
Toasty property that was.
I believe that's all dependent on money. We were gonna do a lot of that in-house work ourselves,
Hmm.
but there's still money that had to go into the paying the
I
contract.
think we should keep the money there,
Hang on, in which line item is that, Joe?
the total, the 150 for the total stormwater.
So it sounds like it's money that can be utilized in a number of different ways.
It is, and there's a few different projects that we already have lined up with the stormwater there. One of them is $156,000 grant that required
A match.
54,000 match. So
Right.
that's a pretty large project that we're doing most of the work on. But we have to kind of pump the brakes until we've been given the green light to spend again, because it's, you know, it's sitting there ready to roll. It's just now we kind of have to bite the bullet and spend 20 grand again.
This is only gonna go
Okay.
so far. This is not a heck of a.
So
lot
let's
of
do
money.
this a section at a time.
Yeah.
Joe, you wanna make a motion to roll over the total stormwater management in the amount of $150,000?
Well, I'll even start with the road with the dock, Twisted Point. I make a motion, we roll over the 35,000 with the Twisted Point Road Ramp dock.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I make a motion that we roll over the total storm water drainage at a total of 150,000.
150, you said?
Yeah, all of it. don't
I
think-
second
I
that.
think we should keep it all. It's always gonna rain.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I think we should keep the 25,000 for the town hall repairs. Motion to roll that over.
Second,
So that, and without, so that's gonna make that total town buildings 25,000.
25,000, correct.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Parks and Recs, we have two active items in there. One's the Veterans Field camera and the other one here is the garbage and recycling. Oh, no, she's got page 2.
Alright, so, Mr. Thibodeau, you're here. What are we doing with the cameras? I mean, do you think that should stay there? Did we purchase cameras?
There's different options out there. We kind of, I'm in the testing run right now, so cameras may be beneficial to Parks and Rec because they're not as expensive as the cameras that we utilize through the police department, and they're not as hard to install, but I mean, I think you always need cameras at these
So
locations.
we should keep this 4,300? Would be your opinion? These are all, I'm asking an advisory opinion from the department heads.
I think you can never have enough security. safety,
Okay,
or-
motion to keep the 4,300 for the cameras. Motion to keep the first, $5,000 for the garbage and
And
recycling.
Joe, let's do them one at a time because we're going by line item. So
Okay.
unless you're gonna go,
I was gonna go right through all the recreation.
you've got the handicap tables, we got the mulch and we got the kayaks. Yeah, we'd still add to that.
Well, I was gonna ask, right, system one at a time.
Oh, yeah.
Motion to approve $4,300 for the cameras.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Motion to approve the recycling, because those are barrels. I hope we buy the barrels.
$5,000.
Yep, 5,000.
do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, again, Mr. Wheeler or Ms. Thibodeau, who am I asking these questions to? The handicapped tables for the pavilion, $5,100. Are they purchased? Is this leftover? Is there a grant match?
I do great.
So we don't need this. Okay. Motion to roll.
I don't know who counts for this rollovers. But the mulch.
Yeah, that's next. That's the next line item. Okay,
Motion to put the $5,110 back in the general fund.
do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so that one's out.
Okay, playground mulch, $10,000.
Yes, that's a safety and liability.
Do we need that? All right, motion to roll over the $10,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Vido, the kayak racks for rentals, is that it? Was that a proposal or do we have
That
that?
was a proposal that would have paid for itself over time.
Right, but do we have that money in the account for that?
We don't, according to you, we don't have anything.
No, this,
No, my
We don't
question was this, I'm sorry, I phrased it wrong, because I was thinking of the bond.
This is
The
not. part of the bond.
$15,000, did we go out on a bond or was that a grant
No.
or do we actually have?
no, we put aside $15,000, I believe, to build more kayak racks.
No, this is
No,
different,
this
these
is
were
a separate-
rentals.
This was a rental unit that we were going to purchase and put on the beach so that people could use an app to rent
Yeah,
a kayak on the river. And
Oh.
there would be a fee that would be associated.
be like a lock and go.
Oh, so you, it's not just not a storage rental, you rent the whole kayak.
You go there and pick up-
Oh, okay.
All right, motion to put the $15,000 back in the general fund.
Second.
And what do you think the chances of that actually happening this year are?
I was ready to do it in, February. But then-
Again, we don't have the money to maintain it down the road, all this, when we get better, we can do it.
No, but all these things we're putting back in, we gotta have the cash to pay for it.
No, I'm saying 15,000 goes back into the general fund, I'm Xing it.
But we don't have, oh, all right, you're getting rid of that, okay.
Did you get?
No, the mulch stayed.
We rolled that over.
Okay, so the kayak rental, the motion is to remove the 15,000,
General fund.
and we had a second for that?
Yes, I second it.
All in favor? Aye.
right.
So that would bring 39,410 minus 15,110. Who's quick on the math?
Um,
Give me a minute. 0, 0, 3, 4. Looks like 24.
410.
24,300 even. That's what my math says.
All right, well, Jessica has all the ones that we've done, so.
Okay, yep, it looks like the new total for Parks and Recs will be $24,300 even. Do we have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay,
All right, chief, you need $60,000 in radios?
No, the radios, that's this current, yeah.
Any less?
Knock it down, that's, we need to update portables, they don't dealing with you.
It's there, we're
Yeah,
gonna
we-
have the fire, but motion to roll over the 60,000.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Okay,
Wastewater. Motion to roll over the 100,000.
we don't have anything in. Oh, under the
That,
use of fund balance?
Total budget, it's not a.
Capital improvement, sewer system repairs,
Next
100,000.
page. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, there. Yeah, right there. Underneath it is revenue
Use.
use of fund balance, but the top it says 100,000.
Yeah, and what, can you explain that a little bit better? What is that revenue use of fund balance? What is it going for? What are we spending it on?
I did not, the revenue use of fund balance, we just took that from the capital line item that
that's
was
a-
submitted last year.
that was,
So-
that was a fun thing, a fun and cake thing. They were like, oh, we'll just use the fund balance. So this just zeroes it out then,
Well,
right?
that's what I'm wondering. I mean, the top one says we have a capital budget, but the bottom one's in parentheses, so I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think one,
And then below that.
Zeroes the
sewer
other out.
is 100,000. And then total
Anthony,
wastewater-
can we continue the ones we have questions about till the July meeting? Or do we need to do, no, we have to do it all?
But
Okay,
the reason I'm saying the 100,000 is at the bottom. I would think it would be 300,000.
well, I'm looking at the sewer,
top two must,
the sewer system repairs and the capital budget, reverse use of fund balance. Their capital budget is what they're requesting here. At the bottom, it's the
One-
same. I think this one we should zero out, because we should never be pulling out of the fund balance, just.
See, that's what I'm saying, I think it already is,
Yeah.
there's 100,000.
So, I think-
Cancel each other out.
I think we should zero this out, and if you're gonna approve this line and then that total.
That's what I was
In
doing.
essence, it is zeroed out.
Okay.
Being parentheses.
Means it's a negative.
It's a negative. So
Okay.
that's what I was doing, so I make a motion to roll over the $100,000 for the sewer system repairs. And that's a general, that's
Yep.
where it is, right there.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So that keeps that one at 100,000 total wastewater management, and I
Mm.
believe that's it. I think we
Motion to
covered them all.
adjourn.
No, one more thing, Mr. President.
Oh, we have one more.
We have the town website.
The discussion on the shortfall in this year's website, computer services line item account. So we believe that account's going to be short by $11,239. And we have targeted 2 line items that should have enough, but will have enough money in to cover this shortfall.
What was the original line item for that? How far over are we?
78,000. It was budgeted at, which would clearly.
Well, you definitely have it now, because we just got rid of the kayak, so.
But we would, this is for
Yeah,
this
this is
current fiscal
operating.
year.
This comes out of operating out of the current.
Then you have the funds.
We do. We've located 2, there is in the municipal court clerk's salary line item. Because that person has left, there is money left in that line item. And there is also money left in the clerk's overtime, so that we can take the money out of both those accounts.
That way
Yeah.
also, but we also. just
So
put
can-
15,000
we-
in general funds.
We need a motion to approve overexpending the website and services account by $11,239 to be funded.
To be drawn up.
To be funded by the two line items mentioned by the manager
So
regarding the municipal clerk's salary and overtime. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Now you can.
Motion adjourned.
Do we have Chief, do you need something before we adjourn?
Motion
Okay.
not to adjourn.
Well, you didn't get a second yet, so you're good.
Just want to clarify on the capital rollover. I understand this was a current fiscal year. We had been working on first the Twisted Point dock. It's come up several meetings in the past. There's still another, there was $100,000 total in that account. So that's still in the process of being worked on possibly through opera funds. It need to stay as a capital rollover to use that.
We
Well,
don't have a.
I think-
in that account. We
Which
had- the
account?
estimate was 100,000, we have 35,000 that we kept in there.
35 was just this current fiscal year's. cap.
no, this is last year. We didn't put
This
any
goes-
money in this
This
fiscal
goes
year.
all-
This one. we're in
Oh, yeah, the
now,
one we're in now, okay,
44,
yeah.
right.
Yep, that was just this one. I believe in the past, we zeroed out all the capital rollovers.
Right, the one.
No?
You roll them in, to cabinets, you always roll.
Yeah, but I thought, because we have rollovers from 2009, they're not on our list.
See, I didn't realize there was a list for you tonight, so I had a list of accounts, old accounts that we work out of for you.
I'm
I
glad
didn't
you
realize
raised this
that
up,
list
because
in
that's
front
what
of
I was
us.
asking you.
Okay.
If this is the total of our rollovers.
And that's what, it was
What?
confusing me, because we got some from 2009, 2012. Those are the ones that I wanted the department heads to comment on, which ones, the old ones,
Right.
had, which ones to roll over and which ones not to.
Unfortunately, I think we're in error for this meeting.
No, we just don't have the information.
But if John wanted to extend the rollover now, you said no.
You're not, in error from an open meeting standpoint, it's just roll of capital items.
No, I'm
What
saying,
you've done is you roll them all from one fiscal year. For all of those that you haven't addressed, if
Right.
you don't roll them all, they don't.
I should have put it on the agenda for next month.
But he said it's too late. We gotta be done by June 30.
No, the other ones are still there.
No, he says if we don't roll them over, they go away.
Then we're in error for tonight's meeting is what I'm saying. We don't have the list. There are more rollovers out there that unfortunately didn't come to us tonight. I was surprised by this and then I was told, oh, this is what it is. So, all right. Okay, I don't remember.
Yeah, this is, I know I specifically said I wanted a list of all the
It was
rollovers.
needed.
So somebody dropped the damn ball. Because we should have had them all, going all the way back to whenever we made them.
One was.
I was pretty clear on that at the council meeting. And now we don't have them. So how the hell do we vote on them if we don't know what they are?
I think we can break right now.
I think
go
we're-
down, somebody look in the computer, they gotta be there, it's a rollover.
Let me make suggestion, you made some rollovers, stops. You have those all, the fire rollovers,
All of them, but highlighted the ones that I was wanted to negotiate.
okay, you're gonna have to have another meeting.
I'm gonna say, we're gonna have to have another special meeting. And for this next special meeting, every department head that has anything rolled over from any time, I don't care if Jesus Christ rolled it over. Bring it forward to us because we're either gonna vote on it or we're not. If you don't bring it forward, it's going to go away.
Just the department. There are things in there that were before these.
Correct. Well, no, you're only gonna bring the ones that you're interested in, obviously. The other ones, the town manager's gonna look up. But if you're a department head and you've got something in that capital budget that needs to be rolled over, you need to bring it to our attention once we schedule this next special meeting. Because if you don't bring it to our attention, we're not gonna roll it over and it's gonna go away, okay? So.
But we need to know the amount, because when it goes
Well, when they
away,
bring it to, when they bring it to us, they're gonna have the amount and they're gonna have what it was for.
what I'm saying is the importance of this. Isn't just in carrying on a project, it's the potential accumulation of $1 million. On the ones we don't do.
It doesn't add $1 million to what we have. It adds it to,
General fund.
it adds it to the general fund. It doesn't add it to our bank account. This is money that we could spend.
General fund is a bank.
No, it's not, Joe. That's what we got.
Here's the thing, this is what I think needs to happen. You need to know what's out there. That's the first thing. If you don't know that, you need to know what the department heads think is absolutely essential. That can narrow down what you need to do for the next, you don't know that.
Correct.
Then after that, you need to make a vote on it. You might make the determination that notwithstanding the fact that the department head says, from a policy standpoint, you might not, that further takes it down. So it's a three-step process, and you don't have two key pieces of information that you're gonna need.
Correct. Right. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is I'm gonna instruct the clerk and the town manager to please come up with another date for another special council meeting before the 30th.
We should talk about it right now.
Can we
Well,
talk about it right now?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we could do the chiefs.
25th?
I can't do the 25th. I can do the
We can
26th.
lighten the load of that meeting by taking care of what.
No, I wanna see it.
24th, we're already here.
I don't wanna just.
We do it the
I don't go by
24th.
what he's got.
24th?
And we have a comp plan meeting on the 24th.
Yeah, and I can't do the 24th.
The 20th, we have the building committee meeting.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the planning board thing.
The planning board's joint session.
Questions may not even be necessary, because if we can still come to you and try, we know there's no money out of the capital, even if we say roll it over. But if we can still come to you and try to get some of this done out of opera funds, possibly.
Well, then you don't need it then you don't need it in the capital budget.
That's what I'm asking.
If
We
it
still can
is,
solve.
if it is a line item. It is real money, it's there, it couldn't be used on anything else. How can you say it's not?
It's a number, doesn't mean it's in the bank account. It's money that they could have spent. They have not spent it yet. It's not locked away in a reserved account. It's in that big pool of money, which is not a big pool of money anymore. It could have been part of that $5 million we paid the settlement with. That could be this $100,000.
So we know that the amount of money we have in the general fund is 100% accurate. So then we are just labeling, is what you're saying, we're just labeling projects? Or we're not
No,
adding? to
what
the
I'm
general
saying is
fund?
this doesn't come out of the bank until it's expended. But it doesn't mean we have it in the bank. Once we
That's
spent that $5 million, Joe, a lot of if we approved all of these things that we have in the past and they went out and spent them, we probably would have been over budget by $5 or $6 million. It doesn't mean that, this doesn't mean that there's actually $100,000 sitting in a little package in that account for this project. It just means we allowed them to go out and spend it if they came and brought it back to us. But it doesn't mean that we have that money in the bank.
Can somebody please help me understand this, because that's not how I look at it. I thought these were restricted line items that are in the bank, they can't be
They're not.
used on anything else. So that's what it says, so that money we
Right.
have that's the total.
Correct.
So these are just labels for projects. So when you say to us, Mr.
You have a fund balance, it's restricted, and then you have an unrestricted fund balance.
So when we say we have $5 million, that's all we have.
This goes to correct me. Yeah. So it affects your unrestricted fund balance, which is what we talk about.
Correct. In other
I
words,
get it.
yeah, it's not strictly dollar for dollar. It's, yeah,
Well,
we said
thinking.
they could spend this and that's when our pockets were full.
Into the budget just now tonight.
If they expended, it did. Well, no, yeah, no, not,
They just got rid of labels.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I actually thought that this was.
No, this is not gonna,
That much.
this is not gonna affect the fiscal budget this year.
We're not creating a higher sum by denying these projects. We're just getting rid of labels associated with projects.
Correct. We're just taking them from restricted back into the general fund.
I thought that number was.
No, it's not,
higher
it doesn't
than
change it at
any
all.
We're just trying to clean this.
This was potential spending,
Right,
not,
this is
not
just-
that it was
These are
spent.
just labeling cleanups. That's all this is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
We
so
still need to-
we're still gonna have the special meeting if there's any to roll them over.
Why, what's it even matter now? They just late
Because this is what
budgeting.
Mike Calusi said when he came.
Yeah.
That they weren't rolled over, spending money in capital projects that hasn't been restricted for that. Now, he was incorrect because you do it in a separate motion as opposed to when you do the budget, but he has a good point. So if you don't, essentially authorize these payments from your restricted general fund balance, then you can't do the project. There may be some projects that you want to have done.
Right.
You have to authorize it. So this is an authorization from council to say, yes, money can be spent on this project. If you don't give that authorization,
It can't.
even though you gave it in prior years, it goes by the wayside.
And that's why we get rid of some of the kayak rack, but not wastewater.
Correct.
All right, well, pick a date. I don't know.
You guys come up with a consensus, or if we,
Well, Jess, do you have the availability of this?
I don't have my
Room?
calendar with me at the moment.
of this room with the town council, we
But I
can
have
have this room
Monday.
anytime we want.
If there's, I suppose,
Yeah.
I mean, if the 25th isn't an option, the 26th or the 27th.
I'm on vacation, so
What about
Any
Thursday?
day, good with me.
What are you guys doing on Thursday?
This Thursday?
Yeah.
Well, there's.
We don't have enough, that's not enough time to post.
No.
That's the night of the,
School.
this.
This-
building.
this week?
yeah, it is,
Thursday.
20th.
Thursday.
This Thursday, you missed, actually, the ability to post,
Yeah.
because you have.
No, it's not 48 hours. I thought.
Wednesday's a holiday, can't count it.
Oh. Alright.
So we're back to the fund.
I'm out of town.
The 24th was no good, a week from today?
No, there's a previous meeting
There's-
scheduled.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, that's right.
I can't do it, so the 26th, 27th, and 28th,
Well, what time's the comp meeting start?
6:30, 7 o'clock. I think.
7? Well, why don't we have this one?
We can do it Monday, Monday at 6?
6:30.
Is the
Yeah.
comp?
We'll do Monday at 5:30.
Five.
Yeah.
I got. It's. She either.
Can you
All right, I'm gonna just I'm gonna have to pick a random date.
Why don't we?
It is.
Thursday, the 26th.
I have a personal thing.
There's
I don't
Wednesday,
think
the
that,
26th is
which
not
means
scheduled
put this
this
all
year.
out of.
Wednesday, the 26th.
Wednesday, the 26th, this hall is open?
Yes, and 27th.
Well, good for you.
So the Wednesday, the 26th, you can't do it?
No, I can. Yeah.
What about the
26th.
26th?
Wednesday, the 26th. Wednesday, the 26th?
Good for you?
6 P.M.
Quit laughing.
All the department heads got the message?
The 26th?
Yeah.
Okay, at what time?
6.
6
Wednesday,
o'clock.
Wednesday, the 26th at 6 PM will be the meeting. Okay? Bring what you want to keep. Leave the rest at home.
And there's no money.
Is there a way to get that ahead of time, like maybe?
Yes, yeah, it would be nice, it would be nice to get the list of all the old rollovers before the night of the meeting, so we at least have a day or two to digest them. To see what's going on, okay?
Mr. President, I want to apologize to the council. I misunderstood
That's
what
all right.
was, the finance director and I looked at just the capital projects from this year
Okay.
and not previously as I didn't know how the process worked,
It's all right.
but
Yep.
no, I apologize again.
No
I
problem.
accept your apology.
I do
Motion to
too.
adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Hi,
I didn't call for the vote yet. I'm still having fun.
you have my vote in advance.
All in favor? Aye, we are adjourned. Okay.